What is going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today we're going to be talking about Tiny and why you should be playing Tiny in the mid lane, as he is very strong right now this patch, and you guys should be picking him a lot more if you want to win some more games. Tiny is currently sitting at a 50% win rate, which means he is doing pretty well, but he's not broken or anything like that. And I think the hero has a lot of very good uses in this meta and should be picked accordingly. But I think if you see a lineup full of squishy heroes and not a whole lot of CC, I think Tiny is a really good pick. A very good tempo controller, and I think playing the Thompson style the way he used to play back in TI, running around, making space with your blink dagger, I think that works really well. And buying items like Phylactery enable Tiny so much. Like, the synergy between that item and Tiny are pretty much one of the best in the game. You're going to be picking your Crash Landing Facet, which makes toss do even more damage when you throw someone and it lands. It's absolutely insane, and when you pair that with Phylactery, you're doing a lot of heavy burst damage. So a lot of heroes on the map are going to be very fearful if Tiny is not showing. And again, this is nothing new. Tiny has always been really good at this kind of playstyle, but in this kind of meta that's kind of been evolving, where it's a little bit slower, people just want to farm their items a little bit more, and it's not as crazy of a death ball. I think Tiny does really well because you can easily group up with your supports, go for a smoke play, and get very easy pickoffs and make some space for your carry. If you guys have a Medusa that just wants to sit in the jungle and do absolutely nothing, Tiny is a really good mid, because Tiny doesn't really like to farm that much. Tiny likes to farm heroes and be very active. Yeah, you can push a mid wave here and there, you can take a stack, you can do these things. Obviously, if the lane or the game is very slow, you can easily take a lot of farm. The hero farms very well. He doesn't right click very fast, but he does have avalanche and toss to clear creep camps very easily, so you can do that. One thing I do have to say, you guys need to be building mana regen on Tiny. If you're playing mid lane Tiny, you have to have a bottle and a soul ring, or at least a bottle, because this hero, if you're going to be very active on the map, you're going to need tons and tons of mana, and even with that, you might have to ship out a clarity here and there. I had to do it a couple days ago. I had a soul ring, I had a bottle, and I still needed clarities to go because I was just running from lane to lane getting pickoffs. Because when you see a game full of squishy heroes, that is my go time on Tiny. Once I have that blink dagger, I'm going to be extremely active on the map, so even if I can rush it, it'll be even better. So my recommended build for Tiny right now is you get the bottle, you get the soul ring, you get a wand if you're going to get some benefit out of it. If you're facing up against heroes like Lina that cast a lot of spells, then you're going to get some good value out of that, so pick up the wand, and then you're going to go for just boots, and then you're going to rush the blink dagger. You can finish treads if you feel like you're going to have enough time and not get a super late blink dagger, or your team doesn't really need you to be very active because you're already winning the lanes. Then yeah, definitely get the treads. Or if you feel like they don't have a lot of mobility and you can get away with getting the treads and then going for the blink dagger, then definitely go for that. But having a fast blink dagger really unlocks this hero. It unlocks your ability to make plays around the map, and it unlocks your ability to easily go for these burst plays, because a lot of times if they have a lot of mobility or stuns, you're either going to be chain stunned before you can reach the toss, your avalanche is just not going to do as much damage, and you're not going to be able to burst anyone, and that really feels pretty tough. After the blink dagger, you're going to be getting Phylactery, obviously, and then you're going back for the Echo Saber. Echo Saber is key for doing lots and lots of damage, and it's also going to make your damage pretty mixed, because you do right click very hard, however you do it very slowly. So after that, you want to pick up items like Assault Cuirass, maybe a BKB if need be, and eventually you want to pick up a Moon Shard or any attack speed item, but I think Moon Shard is the best. Obviously, it gives you the most amount of attack speed, but if you're already built in Assault Cuirass and there's really no need for it, then you can just skip the Moon Shard. But I think in the ultra late game, having a Moon Shard on Tiny is really good. When your Abatos combo stops being as effective in the ultra late game, then you definitely want to start going back for some heavy right click damage, and Tiny is no joke when it comes to heavy right click. If you can get that attack speed down, you're going to be a menace around the map, doing lots and lots of damage, and that's very important to have, because even in the late game, Tiny is no joke. Hence why this hero is being played across all different roles. You can play him offlane, you can play him support, you can play him carry, you can play him mid. This hero can be pretty much played in every single position and doing very well at all those positions. The one that I think does the worst is probably position 5 Tiny. I think it doesn't do that much, and getting a blink dagger takes so long on support Tiny that it feels kind of bad. But core Tiny is always going to feel really good, especially if you have an active team, which is one of the keys to playing a really good Tiny match, is having an active team. If you have a very slow paced team, a team that doesn't really want to play around you, or supports that are very slow in nature, have no stuns, or really have no synergy with you, you might struggle to find plays around the map and actually do something and get something going, and then you're going to see yourself just AFK farming. And really, that's not why you pick Tiny. It's not the style you want to be playing. You want to be super active, you want to be super aggressive around the map, and just creating fear and chaos and making making space for your carry, and getting objectives done. You can do that as well. Tiny hits towers super hard, so very easily you can get a ton of value on the map, but you don't just want to sit in the jungle and AFK farm. That's not what Tiny's for, unless you're playing carry, and even so, you still want to be pretty active compared to other carries that just want to sit in the jungle permanently. I think Tiny is one of those more active carries. Some of the support pairings I'm going to be recommending are really good options. You have Lich, Grimstroke, Ogre Magi, and Tusk. These are really good support pairings that are going to help you and enable you to make better plays around the map. Heroes like Lich can keep you alive for longer with their frost armor. Heroes like Grimstroke can easily set up a nice play with Inkswell and your blink dagger, and also give you that extra little bit of damage that you might need sometimes in the early game because your burst potential isn't always there sometimes, or you're trying to go for a much beefier target. That Inkswell is going to help you out. And also heroes like Ogre Magi with Bloodlust is going to help you because you have insanely slow attack speed, so that's going to buff you up. And heroes like Tusk can play super aggressive early on, and you benefit very well from tag team, and you can easily be snowball save, or they can trap them with ice shards. One of the things I do have to say, if you are playing around your Avatos combo, which you should be playing every single time, you need to weave in and out of the fights. Very similar to a Slark, where you're playing, you get your Avatos combo, get a quick pick off, and then start walking back, start kiting away, start moving away from the fight, and then wait for your combo to come back up along with your blink, and then you go back in and reinitiate. So you're constantly going in and out of the fight, so you need to make sure you're able to do that and they don't have a lot of blink cancels, because then you might struggle. Because if you have to go toe to toe against some of these heroes just off right clicking alone, it might not be really good until the mid to late game when you have a lot more attack speed. Other than that, your right click speed is going to be very slow, and it's not going to be doing a whole lot because you're going to be right clicking so slow. So make sure you're kiting in and out. That is very important on the Tiny. That's what it's all about. You go in, you burst the target, get out, and then go and do it all over again, and you can easily get a team wipe like this. If you're already in the late game, you can easily just start man fighting. When you have that extra attack speed under your belt, you're able to do much better like this. Let's break down some of the best and worst matchups for Tiny. Some of the best matchups are Sniper, Pudge, Huskar, Slark, Hawk. Pretty much any hero that's very squishy you can easily take care of. Heroes like Slark definitely don't want to get Avatos combo. They don't want to get hit with this because they're going to be dying pretty much every single time, especially if you have a Conda. You're going to be doing way too much damage and the Slark's just going to get obliterated, and they definitely don't want to be going up against a very farmed Tiny. And heroes like Sniper that are a big menace in low MMR games, Tiny is a really solid option. You do very well against Sniper in lane, and you also beat him throughout the game. All you have to do is just make sure you find the Sniper in the backline, blink onto him, and you can easily get rid of him. Sniper is a very fragile hero, but I do understand that a lot of players in low MMR struggling against a hero like Sniper. Tiny is a really solid option for that. And heroes like Huskar, if you can catch them low HP, it's a very free kill every single time. You do lose the lane in the mid lane, but that's not very important. Once you get that blink dagger, you're going to be able to just go find him constantly and be able to take care of him, especially if you have heroes like Bounty Hunter that can just scout him out constantly and you know where they are. That's even better because you're going to be able to know exactly where they are, what their HP is, and you're going to be able to make much better plays and decisions and get your team to put better vision, so you're able to make even better plays. Some of the bad matchups are Viper, Phantom Assassin, Timbersaw, Ember Spirit, Spirit Breaker. These matchups are kind of difficult. Phantom Assassin, you're able to beat her in the early to mid game. You're able to do a lot of damage to her as she's not very strong. Once the late game comes, or about 30 minutes or so, Phantom Assassin comes online, and that's very difficult for a Tiny to go through because she can easily just burst you. Phantom Assassin does not care about how much armor you have. She's just going to burst you with crits, and there's not a whole lot you can do about that. Yeah, if you're over farming her by a couple of items, the matchup can definitely be swayed. It's not impossible to beat a Phantom Assassin by any means, but it's a very tough matchup to go up against, especially if she's snowballing. That is very difficult. And heroes like Viper do so much damage, and in the lane you lose that as well. You're not able to last it, so you have to resort to a lot of rotations, and very early on you have to go for even more plays and just try and force more things around the map that you typically don't want to do. You do want to get your levels in the mid lane as much as possible, but heroes like Viper just don't allow that. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about Tiny this patch, and if you guys are playing carry Tiny, or if you guys are playing mid lane Tiny, or maybe you're playing support Tiny. I would like to know what position you guys are currently playing Tiny. That is the question for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, consider subscribing and joining the Dota Chronicles community. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.